By the mid-'80s, the days of arcade games bringing in $1,000 a week are over, and the coin-op industry is a mere shadow of what it once was. Many companies, such as Cinematronics, are out of business. But Atari is still alive and still making arcade hits, such as Gauntlet and Marble Madness.
Marble Madness was supposed to be sort of a video game equivalent of miniature golf. But, you know, putting didn't make a whole lot of sense in that context, so it sort of evolved. The graphics stayed intact, but it kept on evolving, and so we got the trackballs for controllers, and we got enemies in there blocking your path, and it went to a time basis, sort of became a race game.
You know, we have resurgence like Gauntlet came out. You'll come out with 2 good games right in a row, and it's like, oh yes, we're riding high.
In 1991, the arcade experiences one of its greatest resurgences with Capcom's release of Street Fighter II.
When the fighting games started to come back in the 90s, like, there was like an upturn, and you did start to see machines going into weird places again.
You know, the Street Fighter series in its 2D incarnation basically has lived on until to this day. And there's something very compelling about that.
After Street Fighter II came out, there were nearly 600 new fighting games, but none of them could go beyond Street Fighter.
But as successful as the Street Fighter series and its fellow fighting games are, it isn't enough to fully revitalize the market.
Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. These were games that took a lot of coordination, and it excluded 2 major classes of people. The casual gamer, the businessman that wanted to play on his lunch hour, and women. They were very complex, and so the casual gamer didn't want to spend their life figuring out how to punch, kick, and fight somebody to death and knock their heads off.
The problem with fighting games was that there was a period of maybe like a year where anyone could get into fighting games, and after that, it was hard for like somebody new to walk in the arcade and not just get their ass kicked and just get laughed out of the place.
To stay alive, the arcade must evolve.
A single quarter was not enough revenue for a game to earn. We ultimately figured out that we needed a buck. And we don't have dollar coins in the States. A buck is a big spend. It's not a casual spend. And so we needed a new generation of arcade games. And Yu Suzuki was the big player there. Hang-On, Outrun, R360. He had it down.
Yu Suzuki from Sega is considered one of the pioneers for arcade games in the early 90s.
Yu Suzuki transformed the video game business. If you look at the period of time from when he started making these simulators through, say, 1995, Sega dominated the arcades.
Since I created Hang-On, a lot of people were getting more and more into games where you just don't use a joystick. It becomes a physical experience. You need a moving cabinet. That was very important. And the hardware manufacturers were challenging more and more complicated movements.
Well, it just makes the experience all the more real, right? I think what it does is it tends to heighten the gameplay experience. It takes some imagination to kind of, you know, put those things together. The arcade industry is great because of, you know, these unique things. For Dance Dance Revolution or games like that, to have that custom piece of equipment, it adds a whole nother gameplay element, a whole nother experience. It takes it to a deeper level.
While it looks like the arcade may never reclaim its former glory, some people still think it has a future.
I think what you're going to see in terms of arcade games in the future is just more things that are like the larger machines.
Like ride simulators.
You know, there's something about a driving game where you actually have a steering wheel and pedals that you can't really duplicate at home, even with a wheel and pedals, and just the larger kind of location-based entertainment machines.
Theme parks, or even just, you know, say like on a boardwalk somewhere, or specifically downtown somewhere there's a video game center.
The
But the idea there is to give you an experience that you can't get at home.
I always thought there was a future. I just thought it would be so small. You know, I figured there would be enough arcades where people would want to go, you know, people to hang out.
But no matter what happens, the people who were there in the beginning will never forget the time when a quarter was all you needed to be a gamer.
Actually, it's great making the games because, for one thing, we were all a little club. There were about 150 game creators in the entire business at that point. We mostly knew each other, too. When you went to an arcade, there was this great rush you'd get because you'd make your game and you'd put it in there with all the other new games, and you'd see just how much money your game could make in 1 week. It was great.
When you go in there and see the expressions of the people's faces. I remember the first time we tested Millipede, and some gal walked up. All the insects were flying down the screen, and it just expression face of, oh, panic. That was worth it.
What you can't get, of course, and this is what I really miss about arcades, is this crazy, dark, loud place. It's just lit by screens and filled with all the music of the games and, you know, sticky Coke on the floor and stuff like that. I mean, to me, that's just an amazing experience that you can never really have again.